Cathy Mikuni.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you had a delicious turkey day, and I hope you found some great sales at the Black Friday sales. It's just so tempting. But anyway, again, thank you very much for allowing me to, practice my Dharma talks. So to everyone, I'd like to start with a quote. My eyes hindered by blind passions, I cannot perceive the light that grasps me, yet the great compassion without tiring illumines me always. And this is from Shinran Shonin, from the Koso Wasan. So to start the talk, we as human beings are so blinded to our own biases, our own ego, that we see reality through a filter. We don't see the truth as it is. And this is what the Buddha has said to us as part of the Eightfold Path. The number one is the right views, to be free of prejudice and superstition and see the true nature of things. Since we just finished Thanksgiving, I thought I would give a turkey talk, okay? Even making a turkey has a Dharma lesson in it, if we can only see it. So here's what happened to me, and it happened around the beginning of my marriage. I had never made a turkey before, because of course my mother is a great cook, and I am, relegated to the prep work. And my dad and I used to shred the, stale bread to make the stuffing. No Mrs. Cubison, but we had to do it, and we had piles of stuffing. However, I thought, well, now I'm an adult, and I'm a mom, so I really should make a turkey. So let me show you my Dharma lesson, okay? Nowadays, I use this one because I can see the numbers. However, at the time, I used this one. If everyone can see it, little meat thermometer. So you're asking me, just picture me at the dining room, in the kitchen. I had this huge turkey in front of me, and I'm thinking, they said to, put the thermometer in the thickest part of the thigh. So I'm going, okay. So I'm looking at this thermometer, and I'm thinking, how do I get this thermometer into the thigh? Okay? And so, I tried a few times with this thermometer, and I finally couldn't figure it out, so I had to ask my then husband, Gary. I said, Gary, how do I get this thermometer in there? And he just burst out laughing, okay? I hope everyone can guess why this thermometer didn't go in, okay? Magic. Okay? I really tried to put it in with this cover on it. So I have this little quote. I said, I couldn't see the point because I only saw what covered it. So in that way, this is a great Dharma lesson for, I hope, everyone. Think of all the things that prevent us from seeing people as they are. To be grateful for all that we have in our lives. We're blinded, just like with this cover, because our mind, heart, and eyes are covered. If we can just take a moment in our lives before making a judgment about someone, disliking someone, or thinking our way is the right way, and remove the blinders which cover our eyes, then we could see true reality. Opportunities for lessons to see the truth are like this turkey thermometer. Okay? In saying the Nembutsu here in the Hondo is like removing the cover that's hiding our eyes from what is real and opens us up to appreciate what we have. So I'd like to have each of you just take a moment now to reflect take a deep breath and go back to Thanksgiving Day this year that you celebrated with your family, friends, or even by yourself, to appreciate what you have and the lesson that you might have learned during that day, and a reflection upon yourself, maybe how you handled a situation with a relative, maybe patience, maybe frustration at the turkey that didn't work out. And I think you'll find a lesson, a Dharma lesson there, like I did. That's your very own. So when we say Namo Amida Butsu, let's really hear Amida calling us to a reality which gives us the gift of gratitude by uncovering our eyes, or in my case, taking the cover off of the meat thermometer. And so ends my great tale, my turkey tale for Thanksgiving. Let me end this with a more serious quote from Renyo Shonin, okay? Hard is the rock, soft the water, yet the water wears away the rock. There is an old saying that if there is a will, even the attainment of Buddhahood is possible. No matter how little faith one possesses, if he listens earnestly to the teachings, he will attain faith through the compassion of the Buddha. Therefore, it is important that one listen earnestly to the teachings. Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu, Namo Amida Butsu. And I really do want to follow this up. I want you to listen earnestly to Sensei, because he is very knowledgeable about all the deeper aspects of Buddhism. So open your ears, uncover your eyes. Thank you.
Well, good morning. Thank you all for being here. We expected a smaller turnout on the Sunday after Thanksgiving, and there are actually more of us because the FBWA is still having their own little things to do. A couple of them have to still work on that. So thank you so much for being here this morning. We expected a light attendance. I'm going to try to keep a light atmosphere. Cathy had the story about the meat thermometer for the turkey. There's a cartoon on the internet with it's a Far Side, but I think it's a takeoff. It's not actually Larson, and it's the mother cow is there at the door of the bedroom, and the son is in the young steer is in bed still, and the subtext is, as soon as Billy saw his mother carrying the meat thermometer, he decided he really was well enough to go to school today. The Sunday following Thanksgiving is often a time for talking about gratitude. I will talk about this a little bit. Even in various religious traditions, we talk about thankfulness at this time of year. We have a lot to be thankful for here. I do. I want to thank our videographer, Alan Goto, and our tech support guy, Cathy Mikuni, for her excellent brief Dharma talk. Mine won't be terribly long, but to have them both brief and good is rare. Howard Hayes being our organist this morning, and Kyoko Okura Gibbs for doing the flowers, for preparing the Naijin and the Hondo. And again, I want to thank all of you for being here. Now, Cathy Mikuni has already spoken well on the topic of gratitude, so I will not much continue on that, but I do endorse everything she told us. And it can also relate to her story about not remembering to take the cover off the meat thermometer. When I first got to Japan, the good news when I got to Japan is temporarily, it only lasted about 3 years, our international department had an arrangement with this restaurant where they would feed the graduate students for like 600 yen a night, like $6, pretty cheap. But we wouldn't order off the menu. They would just serve us whatever whether the restaurant family was eating that day. So the first time I went there, they plopped down a banana leaf wrapped with the rice inside it, you know. So I picked up the banana leaf and tried to bite into it. I didn't know, you know, I realized it was too hard, that mustn't be what you do, so I put it down, nobody saw me, so I undid it. So yeah, I know, you know, sometimes the most obvious things, you know. Our younger son, Reverend, isn't here today because he's sleeping because he has to work in the evening. He works at a Japanese restaurant downtown. But Reverend taught us just a demonstration of how your presuppositions, as Cathy was saying, about all these presuppositions blinding us. And so you can do this easily yourself to show other, amaze your friends. It's a sequence of numbers, and you're supposed to guess what the principle of this sequence of numbers is, right? So I'll give you, you can make up your own, but I'll give you an example like 12, 24, 32, 35, 49. So what's the principle of that progression? And if you're working on it, you're presupposing it has something to do with multiples. What's the principle of progression? Every number is bigger than the number before it. So you can do that, just put any sequence of numbers where they get bigger and ask your friend, and they'll be going, oh, let's see, 12 times 2 is 24, but 35, how's that connect with, you know? It's just, we suppose that it must be a progression of multiples, but it's not. Just the sequence was, every number gets bigger. So remember that and use it to amaze your friends. Gratitude is a wholesome aspect of our lives, but gratitude does not exist in isolation. Gratitude is felt because we truly are benefited, because of our real connections with other people and things and processes. Our gratitude also is linked to our capacity to love and our ability to make commitments. Love, commitment, and gratitude are all connected. Gratitude is a sweet, gentle emotion that accepts a certain degree of dualism or separation. That's not a bad thing, but it is a thing. It's something you don't expect from Buddhism. You know, there is a distinction here between the person who is benefited and you are grateful to, and yourself. So it's reinforcing that you are a unique, separate person. It's still a very gentle and good emotion, a good feeling. But it leaves you with you being over here and you're grateful to being over there. The giver and the receiver are still differentiated in gratitude. But you know, gratitude opens out into love and commitment. And with love, sometimes you don't feel that you're two separate people, that you're three separate people, that you're four separate people. A loving family of people, an awoken Sangha, is not just an accumulation of individuals. A pack of wolves is not just an accumulation of individual wolves. There really is a unity there. With commitment, you insist on an inseparable connection to those you care for. Our quest is for enlightenment for all of us, for everyone, eventually for all living beings. This is our quest. We share in the Buddha's commitment to the well-being of all living things. Sharing in Amida Buddha's commitment to the well-being of all bonds us even more tightly to other living beings. Our participation in the Buddha's commitment for those we care for, to those we care for, is not yet quite the heroic matter we might think it is, or we might wish it is. I can't shine a light on Palestine. I can't shine a light on Ukraine and just make everyone peaceful and cooperative and understanding and forgiving. I can't do that. I wish I could. I can't send food to all the hungry children in Palestine and Los Angeles. I can't feed them all. I really can't. These are the things I really want to do. These are the things you want to do. But we can't do that, right? So what can I do? Well, I let a guy cut in front of me on the freeway yesterday. It was a small thing, but it meant a lot to him, you know. It's not much, but I did it because I was grateful. Our elder son, Sho, living amidst the blizzards in Illinois, had called us the night before. And he spoke with us for 2 hours. Not everyone's 27-year-old son would speak to them on the phone for 2 hours, you know. I was really grateful for this, and so, yeah, you go ahead, Cathy, it's okay. Such relative gratitude for a relative benefit is a good and wholesome thing. there is a larger, more fundamental sort of thankfulness, which is appreciating being alive at all. Just to be alive, to be grateful for that is the fundamental and the most powerful thankfulness. But it is hard for some people because they have presuppositions again, presuppositions. We don't have a presupposition about creation, right? The creator of the world, so far as we know, is electromagnetism, gravity, strong nuclear force, weak nuclear force, and all that stuff which may or may not exist that's called dark matter and dark energy. To be truly have that vast gratitude that we have for being alive is mostly possible for Buddhists because we accept the world on its own terms. If somebody made this world, I immediately want to know, why do the cats kill the birds? Why couldn't you teach the cats to eat vegetables? If there's a plan, it's a bad plan. There is no plan. There's electromagnetism, gravity, all that stuff we only partly understand, and yet here we are. We have no theory that we're supposed to be here. We don't think there's a plan where we have an important role. What I believe is what 90% of Mahayana Buddhists believe, and what 99.9% of Theravadan monks believe, which is that life is just an accident. Life is a wonderful accident, but it just happened. That's all. There's no plan. Meteors brought water to this planet. We're pretty sure of that now. There was no water until some meteor hit us. This was rather early on, but water doesn't come from Earth. It came from somewhere else. So did proteins, right? They came from somewhere else. All these meteors that were crashing into the Earth early days. If they hadn't done that, we wouldn't have had single-cell organisms. And then single-celled organisms decided to clump together into larger organisms. Why did they do that? How did they decide to do that? How did that happen? We have no idea. And but soon, pretty soon, came human beings. It's all a beautiful accident. It was a chance coincidence of circumstances that led to our existence. This is something to be grateful for. Just out of nowhere, here we are for no particular reason. Well, let's make something out of it. On this planet, we have seasons, and in our social structures, we have rhythms. And this is a time for relaxing into thankfulness. This is a season of relaxation and thankfulness. Our rhythm should be moving towards self-care. Just remember that the best self-care is caring for others. If you really want to take care of yourself, take care of others, and then you feel better. This really is true. Anecdote I've told you before, but it was quite striking to me. My friend Mark Trenholm came by my house 4 years ago with a six-pack of beer, and he was obviously depressed about something. I invited him, we had a couple beers and listened to him talk. He had had an accident when he was like 6 years old and lost his eye. So he had a glass eye since he was 6. Now he's pushing 40, and the glass eye is too small. It doesn't fit the eye socket anymore, so you have to have it replaced. So he was really worried that this eye would look funny, that I never noticed he had a glass eye. We even sparred before. I didn't notice, but he was worried. And so this is 1986. This is the summer before I went to the Institute of Buddhist Studies to study Buddhism. And, he was so depressed. And then he'd be talking with, I don't want to do that, I don't have to work out, and I don't know this doctor that well. And then you go, you're going to that graduate school next month. How are you going to pay for that? And what are you going to do? Well, okay, then what? And are you sure that they're going to hire you? And as soon as he started worrying about me, you could see the weight go off of him. Being concerned about me and my difficulties, suddenly this thing about the glass eye just didn't matter. He's focused on something else. That works for all of us. When we do for others, suddenly it really is self-care. You feel better. But again, it doesn't have to be a heroic thing. We can't stop the war in Ukraine. Nobody seems to be doing it right now. We can't stop the invasion of Palestine. We can't do much about that right now. All the people you'd want to write letters to are already doing everything they can. We're just not always up for some valiant quest. At Ralph's grocery store this morning, I let 2 people with shopping carts move ahead of me. And just into the produce area, Here I am, and there's 3 of us, and couldn't believe how grateful these people were. I mean, I saved them 3 seconds, you know? That saved 3 seconds of your time, not having to wait for me. Just some little nicety can really make a difference to people sometime, and we can do these things. I can't stop the wars all over the planet. There have been wars all over the planet since the day I was born, and I've never been able to stop any of them. I've spoken against them, I've demonstrated against them, I've refused to participate in them, but I can't do anything right now. But I can let the guy go ahead of me on the freeway or in the shopping aisle. We can do that kind of thing. Letting someone go ahead of me with their shopping cart is not a great gallant action, but it's the nicest thing I've done today, so far. And it's an expression of my thankfulness for having such a nice family. Again, the day after Thanksgiving, Sho called and he spoke with us for more than an hour, and then Kyoko had to go pick up Ren from work, and he talked to me for another hour until she got back from picking up Ren and shopping. And you know, this was really a wonderful experience for me, and that could never have happened between me and my father. No, I'll go carry something for him, right, but talk to him for more than 2 minutes? What would we say? We really did not ever know how. My father never knew how to have a conversation with anybody. He just was not that kind of guy. So I'm really grateful to have these long conversations with my son. You know, the second time, a couple years ago, he called me on my birthday and we talked for 2 hours. This is a small thing, but enough to really make me feel thankful and to make me do valiant, gallant actions like letting the other guy cut ahead of me on the freeway. Maybe that's enough right now for us to do. That little kind of thing may be enough. There will be opportunities for all of us to do big, valiant, gallant things next year or the year after. For the rest of this holiday season, I'm recommending that we all engage in small but sincere acts of appreciation. Let the other car pull ahead of you. This is my Dharma message for this morning. There are reasons for us to be grateful for this life of ours. If you feel grateful, show your thankfulness to others, but that can be in small ways. Small kindnesses matter too. Thank you. Join me in Gasho as you will at the conclusion of our Dharma talk here. We rely upon the source of limitless wisdom and endless life. Namo Amida Butsu. 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 Thank you.